It's a meeting of the Town of Norton Zoning Board of Appeals. We have a few items on the agenda tonight. The first on the agenda is the continued public hearing for 133 South Worcester Street. Applicant owners, the Roman Catholic Bishop of Fall River. We heard some of this at our last meeting and then continued it. Is there a motion to remove this from the table for procedural purposes tonight?
I'll make a motion to remove it for release to the floor for procedural purposes.
Second.
And all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
As I think the board knows, and hopefully those in attendance know, we had to put this matter off until the next meeting due to schedule conflicts between town council and applicant's council. So the next meeting is
January 22nd.
January 22, and I'll ask for a motion in a moment to continue this to January 22 at, we can take it right up at 7 o'clock, I guess. Actually, make it 7:05 in case a simple application comes in ahead of it. But it was unavoidable with the town council. And we've checked with applicant's council, and the 22nd is going to work for them as well, correct?
Yes.
So-
And we have an email from the applicant's attorney.
Okay, and that's in the record. So because this is somewhat a disagreement over the legalities of what the board can do and cannot do anyway, I think it prudent simply just to continue it again. The applicant's not here, I don't believe, anyway, because we notified them that we wouldn't take it up substantively. Is there a motion to continue this matter to the next meeting at 7:05?
I'll make that motion.
I will second that motion.
All those in favor of the continuance?
Aye.
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 Okay. Apologies to anybody who did not know that ahead of time. Thank you.
May I ask a question?
Procedural, go. Yes.
If I don't have the opportunity to be here on that evening, could I submit a letter to the board?
Signed correspondence is always part of the record, which we would read to the extent anybody wanted to ask a question. That's where, it's not as good, or if somebody challenges what's said in the letter, but it's part of the record, so, of course.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is an application for variance for property at 250 Mansfield Ave, number 25. Edward, is it Jurgens?
Sure, yes.
Jurgens, okay. And you are Mr. Jurgens?
Yes.
Thank you. Owner is Wendy and Edward Jurgens. Unit 25 at 250 Mansfield Ave. And this is one of the home parks that is in town, as you will see when you look at the application. Present use of premises is mobile home. This is is it commercial zoning district? It looks like commercial.
Yes.
The proposed use of premises is residential mobile home. The alterations listed on the application: 9 by 16 foot porch on present 9 by 16, I think that's deck, D-E-C-K. We want to put a 3-season porch on the existing deck, signed by the applicant. And in the file are some plans titled NECC Plan MH-25, dated June 25 of 19, and then some photographs. I'm going to ask the applicant to explain exactly what is depicted in the photograph and what is the intention.
Well, is there an existing deck that was already put there, that was approved by the building commissioner? And we're gonna put a sunroom on top of that, it's 9 by 16, 3-season porch.
Is this photograph the property?
No, that's a picture of the 3-season porch that we're going to put on there.
Okay. When you said the deck was already approved, is the deck in place?
It's in place, yeah.
The lower deck?
Yes.
What is the deck made of?
It's pressure treated and it's treated whiteboard.
It's made of wood.
Exactly.
So is it up some stairs or something?
There's stairs going up, yes, there's,
And your intention is to add a second layer to that?
no, just right on top of the deck.
Oh, I see. On top of so to make it a first floor, three-season porch.
Exactly, it's just gonna have the regular door going in, we're not making the mobile home any larger or anything, we're just adding the three-season porch.
Can you tell us how you came to apply to us for a variance?
I was told to.
By
The
building?
building inspector, yes, and I met Paul up in his office, and he told us that we had to go for a variance because they're non-conforming lots.
Okay,
Actually, can I? It's
Go ahead.
actually the use that's,
Well-
because mobile homes actually are not allowed in the commercial zoning district, but this is a
Pre-existing.
Pre-existing, non-conforming.
Yep.
Use, but it would be an extension of the non-conforming use, so we just advised him to come here.
okay. So the issue that I have is the board requires a plan drawn by an engineer to show us the meets and bounds of the property. Where did this plan set come from?
I'm the park manager.
Hold on, please. Mr. Jurgens?
It was from the park manager.
Okay, thank you. Now, what is your name?
Sue Blake.
Okay.
I'm the park manager, and I've submitted most of that paperwork. Now, I forget exactly what your question was.
Well, this is not an engineered plan?
We did put a plan in there, a plot plan with setbacks and everything on there.
We don't have it in our file. Put it in where?
I gave it to Nicole. Nicole had that, a whole plot plan of the entire park, one just of their lot. Well, I don't know.
Maybe it was submitted, maybe it was just put in.
You give them one for just your lot?
When did you do that?
It-
Approximately?
It's, her application's next, and
Yeah.
it's the same
It's the same
mobile home
place.
park, so the
Right.
plan is actually in that one, in that folder.
But it doesn't show this property.
Just as a
Well-
lot layout, it does, of the mobile home lots themselves.
Okay,
Say it doesn't have.
okay. If I could ask a couple of questions, please jump in, board members. Is the mobile home park one parcel, or is it separate parcels? Do you know that?
Just one parcel.
It's
Yeah,
one
I've-
big parcel?
Yeah, I can show that to you here.
Then how are the lots divided?
The lots are all approximately 100 by 50 feet.
Are taxes paid by the large lot
Taxes are
as
paid
one?
by the park for the entire parcel.
Yeah, on the property assessors, as you can see, it's Norton Estates Cooperative, that's the owner.
Yep, that's the applicant name on the other application.
We got 123 units.
Okay.
It's all set on 24 by approximately 65-foot slabs.
Okay,
And we don't allow them to go over the slabs or foundation, whatever you.
that road, 140 is a public road, correct?
Right,
And the
that's-
roads within the park are public roads?
No, the private.
Those are private roads?
Private roads inside the park.
So you take care of the
We
plowing?
take care of everything. Our own water systems. I mean, we do have town water and town sewerage, but we take care of the repairs of any water problems, breaks, whatever, hydrants. We take care of everything.
Well, my problem is I don't know how to handle this because there's no bylaw concerning mobile homes, as far as I know.
This is the first time we've ever had to apply for variances for these reasons. Chris Carmichael asked me to do them from now on, because usually what we've always done is as long as they stay on their 24-foot slab, 24 by 65-foot slab, it's always been okay, but now it's a variance for everything that would change, and the other one is the same. The
Yeah.
other one that's coming up is the same issue.
No, I saw that. is normally we require a plot plan that's an engineer, done by an engineer, a licensed engineer,
Well, we
and
have an
signed.
engineer in the park, he's retired, and he's the one who did these plans.
But we don't have that in the file, so I don't know what we can do.
I have,
But I'd like to ask the other members if they have any ideas as to how to handle this. If the whole mobile home park, I'll use that word, is one parcel, there's no bylaw that I'm aware of dealing with mobile homes on one parcel. I'm not suggesting that they can never make a change, but I'm not sure. My inclination was, we have to have an engineered plan to show what's there and what the change is. Otherwise, we're shooting in the dark. We're either granting or denying in the dark. It is a non-conforming use, and this is a change to, but I feel I'd have to ask council how to approach this, because now I assumed the roads were public, and that's not even the case here.
If before, they've never had to apply for a variance, no matter what they've done, and we're starting it now. There's no precedent set, obviously, so whatever we do on these two is going to set the precedent going forward.
Their parcels have been before us before. They were before us number of years ago, and I don't remember which establishment it was or what was being done, but we did look at a parcel and issued some decision then. That would be something I'd maybe want to look to, and I honestly don't know what year it was. It was at least 5 years ago. But I don't know, this wouldn't flow under our rules. We don't have a plan showing the meets and bounds and the distances, and
Now, are we doing distances to lot lines
that,
for their
Exactly.
trailer area, or is it the whole lot?
no, well, that's exactly the question. My assumption was we'd have to do something distance to the lot, the individual lot lines, because for example, fire concerns and safety concerns, we obviously want to know where things are being resituated. In this case, it's not being resituated, I understand that. It's,
It's not getting any bigger.
But-
not expanding.
we also would need a plan to show that.
I agree.
it's more of a remodel
Yeah,
than.
No, I'm not disputing, I'm not disagreeing.
There is a huge plot plan with an engineering stamp and everything that Chris Carmichael has. He had me make him a big photocopy, it's a big map, and it has all the boundary lines, and it's all done by engineers and everything, he has that.
Seems like we need something to, more concrete, pardon the pun, to make a decision on.
I think no matter what comes before us, no matter what property, no matter what parcel, it needs to show lot lines, lot coverage.
I agree, because there are lots of concerns for the board, public safety, but also visual and pervious versus impervious surfaces, that sort of thing. All those things we ordinarily look at, especially for a non-conforming.
And then are we looking at this, take it a step further, you start covering more of the lot area.
Right.
Structure, are we now looking at the whole trailer park for lot coverage? Or-
Right. And the next one is, the next application, which isn't before us yet, but the next one does ask to expand
Expand
the scope. I would be inclined to also, unfortunately, continue this to the next meeting and ask council to at least give us some direction. If there's no bylaw covering this, it could be that council says, there's no guidance, you do what
Whatever
you,
you want.
but I don't know that. And
Is there any way that we can do that?
it may be that we have to say to the town, we need a bylaw on this. And I'm not suggesting holding up or denying the applicants, but I think we at least have to ask for some direction from council.
And is there a way to get council's opinion without burdening them with going out and hiring an engineer and going through all the steps, or are they gonna have to probably do it anyway?
But if there's an engineering plan in the file, or Mr. Carmichael's file, sorry, we can get to that.
We need this trailer number with their setbacks.
But
their-
that might be in the engineered plan, that's what I'm saying, so that we could at least use that. But we don't know any of that yet, unfortunately. if Chris were here tonight, he might be able to answer.
He has the entire parcel.
Okay,
What we're doing is, we're not adding any more space or anything than what was already there, because all the lots are primarily the same size, and the slabs, what they put their mobile homes on, are all the same size. We're not changing any of those sizes except for the mobile home that's on it, because we have some that are as old as 1972s and things, and people buy them, and we have them pulled out, and they put a new one on there, and it's a little bit bigger, but it's not going over that 24-foot cement slab, or the lot itself that that mobile home is on doesn't change. Nothing changes except for the actual mobile home
Yep.
itself.
understood. Are the concrete slabs the same size for each?
Most of them are the same. Some might be a couple inches shorter.
But what is that size?
They're approximately, the slabs are 24.5 by, it goes up to 65 feet long.
I'm sorry, 25 wide?
24.5.
24.5 wide?
24.5 width.
Yep.
And up to like 65 long.
So there are different lengths on the slabs?
The shortest slab we have is like 63, between 63 and 70. The ones that are on the perimeter, that are out near the woods, they go, they don't have anybody behind them. The two that are in question tonight are in the middle of the park, so they have, there's theirs, and then there's one behind it that goes to the next street.
And
But they're all, approximately all the same size.
and how is it hooked up to water and sewer? Is there pipe,
Town water,
but it's
town
piping
sewer.
in the middle of the slab, is that right? It's not on the side of the building?
No, no.
See, it comes up through the slab,
They all come
so,
up underneath and through the slab.
so I mean, the positioning is meaningful. Obviously, it has to get to the building in some way that, we're not familiar with, but I just think we need something more detailed than this plan in front of us on this application.
I agree. I got a quick question for the applicant.
Of course.
This sunroom, is it go beyond the extension of that concrete slab, so
No,
it's all,
It's actually about 6-7 inches smaller.
that's what it seems.
No, we don't allow it.
Yeah.
It has to
It's a
be-
park bylaw,
it-
basically.
It has to be on that slab. And all the mobile homes are to the extreme right of their slab. So, like, the other one that's in question, or even theirs, is a 14-foot wide. So they have another 10 feet there.
Mhm.
So they're putting that 9 by 16 porch, or 9 by 14 porch, whatever it is. They still have a foot of the slab left. We don't allow them to put any footings in and go out on the grass.
So if there's a homeowners association or
Yeah,
something similar
I'm the
that,
park manager there, we have
Yes.
president, board of directors.
And a set of bylaws
Yeah,
there.
we have bylaws, we have rules and regulations, we have proprietary agreements with the people, because they lease the lots from people who don't own the lot.
I see. That's a good, that's a good point.
And it's an aluminum porch, it's not made out of wood. And we already ordered it, we have a $10,000 down payment up there, waiting for this thing to come down there. We were kind of surprised that we would have to go through all this.
Yeah, but they were approved for the deck. They have a brand new mobile home. There was an old one there that was pulled out. They have a new one
When-
that came in.
When did the deck go in, approximate?
Deck went in, when did it go in? October.
Oh,
was there,
just,
October.
was there a building permit for the
Yeah,
deck?
oh yeah, there was a building permit for the whole thing, for the new mobile home coming in. For the deck, everything was done. We have the occupancy permit came through, everything was approved by Chris. Chris looked at their deck when it was, just the foundation of the deck to
Mhm.
look and make sure that it was sturdy enough, and he already approved that. So now it's just a matter of putting the 3 walls and the roof to make it a 3-season porch. That's all they need.
but, so would you went to Chris you went to the building inspector to what, make sure you could do that? Or did he know you were doing, how did he know you were putting the enclosure on?
Because they have to pull a permit for anything they do, make sure they do.
Okay,
So he was pulling a permit to put that sunroom
How is the sunroom fixed to the deck? Do you know, Mr. Jurgens?
It's bolted down.
So it's literally on the deck itself?
That's right on the,
Yeah, a lot of our mobile homes all have three-season porches on them. You know, and that's the other thing, it may be a 14-foot wide mobile home existing there with a deck and a sunroom that brings it out to the 24-foot slab, so the fire barrier is about the same if they took that and put a 24 wide, a double wide unit in that same spot.
So the deck itself is 9 by 16 feet, and the enclosure, the three-season room, is the same size, you're saying?
exactly, yes.
So this is a vertical, it's not a horizontal footprint question on this application, it's a vertical. I guess they need a building permit for that,
Yeah, that's what we went for.
That's what he went for.
but that's what that's how it,
And that's why I asked about the permit for the deck. Why didn't asking the permit for the deck generate the same response, or the permit to put the
They
new
were
mobile
both done
home?
at different times.
Well,
Request was at different times.
but the deck itself would have raised,
It seems like it would have raised the same.
we don't know that without asking
Talking to
Chris. I mean, this one may be a little different. I guess we could say that there's no encroachment of the footprint than the existing permitted deck, assuming that it's permitted, of course, and that, you know, under 1.5E, we don't find this to be more detrimental on that same footprint of the permitted deck. We might have a different problem with the next application, but how do you,
I was thinking the same way, Mr. Chairman.
in other words, Chris was being cautious here
Yes.
and said, well, wait, I want to get a determination, but we, I think, might be able to make that determination because they don't need a variance.
No.
They're not, variance is horizontal, it's sideways, right? You know, you can't go so many feet from the property line, this way, that way, you know, and a variance is if you encroach the measurements. This isn't that.
And the question I have now, what we were told by the manager is going forward, Chris is requesting them to come here. What changed? What's the,
No, you're right. I mean, I think we should ask that of Chris.
and should we do that before we make a finding on this, or? I'm not,
That's the
but
safe,
this really doesn't bother me at all. It's really just doing it correctly is the only.
I don't disagree. I just see this as different because it's not changing the footprint at all.
Correct.
When we've had non-conforming uses before, let's say it's a house that sits in the middle of a big lot. If it's still an undersized lot, if it's still non-conforming, even to build up on a deck, they need to come for relief. But in that case, we would say it's not changing the footprint, so under 1.5E, is it going to be substantially more non-conforming, in which case, you know, 99% of the time, I'm going to say, of course not.
And there's multiple other ones in there already that have the same setup.
Apparently so, which didn't come before us.
And then I get,
Actually sent
I'm just,
Nicole a lot of pictures of decks.
no, I understand, we have some pictures in one of the applications.
We've always
Hold
allowed
hold
that.
on, just one second. Okay, I'll let you talk in a second, and then any other people who want to add. But is this a different circumstance?
I think so. I mean, even if we had a plot plan showing the setbacks and all, I don't even know what it tells us. I mean, I can tell by looking at this picture that
Yep.
they're obviously right up against one of the lots.
Right.
lines. So
But we're
whether
not
it's 2 feet
gonna-
or 10 feet, I don't even know what we would do with that.
But putting a covering, a roof, and
Right.
3 walls on it isn't going to change anything, except maybe a sight line. Let me ask if I can, is there anybody else to speak in favor of the application, aside from those who've identified themselves? For the re-
The other people I have
No.
with me pertain to the next one.
Okay, is there anyone to speak in opposition to the application as filed?
No,
For the record, none?
because they, you know.
I understand.
all at some time or another make improvements to their mobiles or whatever.
Okay.
And we make them get a building permit for anything, any changes that they do, and they have to stay on that slab. They cannot go off the slab.
We need clarification clearly from council and from Chris. In this case, though, I would entertain a motion to close the public hearing on this and then to take a vote My suggestion would be that this doesn't implicate anything except we're saying we don't think you need a variance, and that under 1.5E, it's not going to be substantially more detrimental because they're not changing the footprint.
And then the only thing, if this was a bigger structure they were putting on, if you were increasing it, if increasing the habitable floor area of the structure by more than 25%,
That too.
that's what would trigger.
Well, that's one of the there are a lot of considerations, though. There's area coverage and everything. But this isn't implicating any of that.
What would it be implicating? It's not going to, under 1.6A.
Are you saying that adding this would increase the floor space?
Habitable floor space.
Um,
It's not,
it-
but
is-
it's not going to go over the 25%. It doesn't apply to that.
It doesn't?
anyway.
I mean, I didn't do the
I
math.
just did the quick math.
Okay.
I'm just saying,
And I would say that if it's going to be heated and things like that, maybe so, but if not, it's,
Right, it's a three-season room, correct? So it's not heated?
They're not gonna have any.
but I agree with you as to
I'm
looking
just-
at that, yeah.
trying to figure out any other tripwires there might be in here.
No, I hear
don't
you.
have a problem. I would make that motion under.
To close the public hearing
close the
first,
public hearing.
is there a second?
I'll second that.
I've asked if any opposition, there's none. All those in favor of closing the public hearing?
Aye.
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 Now, is there a motion to make a finding under 1.5E, whatever the prefix is now, the numbers have just changed, that the proposal to allow an enclosure, three-season room, on top of an already permitted porch, recently permitted porch, as described in the application, though it does not contain meets and bounds, with the representation that it's not going to change the footprint whatsoever, is there a motion that that alteration to this prior non-conforming use will not be substantially more detrimental to the area, surrounding area?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
And is there any further discussion on that now?
Nope.
I think we've discussed it. All those in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Okay. So the application is granted. There's a finding that this will not render the parcel, based on the representations made and the application, any more non-conforming or detrimental to the area. So we'll type up a decision within the next days and get it filed on this,
Appreciate it.
okay? Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Okay. It wasn't an appeal of Chris's decision, though. It probably should have been filed as one, but that's an administrative matter. It's the same criteria. I mean, it would have been an appeal of the finding that it's well, no, it's a non-conforming use, so it's going to be that
Either way,
1.5
it's
language
not-
anyway. So it doesn't really matter. I just think it's not a variance, which is how it was marked. Agreed?
Right.
Okay.
Agree.
Good luck to you.
Thank you a lot.
Next on the agenda is the application of 250 Mansfield Ave, number 29. The owner is listed as Norton Estates Cooperative Corp. Who is that is the applicant on this one?
We are, because we own the lot. We
But you-
own the lot. These people,
You own all the lots, though.
we own all the lots. These people are going to be putting a new one in the spring.
A
So,
new home, a new mobile
The
home.
old one has already been pulled out.
Oh, it has?
Yeah.
Okay.
They're gonna put a new one in, but it's bigger than the one that was there, but it's still staying on that same slab where the other one was. There's not gonna be anything any different except for the mobile home itself. The mobile home that was there, and I had pictures of all of that, was a 12-foot wide by 62 or 3.
On the hand drawing.
64.
64, okay.
Is it six, where, oh, yeah.
Then that one had a 10 by 16 deck on it,
Okay.
so it went all the way to the 24-foot slab. So, that's all been pulled off. These people have, they want to put the new one in the spring. but they want a 24-foot wide mobile home, which will go from edge to edge of the slab.
Okay. This, I think, is a different situation.
Huge.
For the reasons that we just talked about, because this is expanding the footprint, not of the slab, but of the construction there. Demolition just happened this year? Is that,
Yeah, yeah,
and there was a demolition
Yeah.
permit?
yep, all the permits were done.
That didn't come
And
before?
it wasn't exactly, Chris told me to call it a demolition, but they're actually pulled out and brought to Maine.
No, understood, I understand, I mean, it's the same thing.
But yeah.
It wasn't smashed on
there's
site.
There's an active building permit on there now that I keep adding to because I can't finish it until we get a decision for them to bring a new one in.
This, though, I think is a different situation than the last application because of what we just discussed. I would be in favor of notifying council that we'd ask her to talk to us about this a little bit too, and also to ask for what the manager, I'm sorry, your name again?
Sue?
Sue has described as a engineered plot plan showing all these lots, which we don't have in front of us. It may be in the town file.
It's a
Well,
big.
we need to
rolled up to-
We need to see that, I think, at or prior to the next meeting. Are you members in agreement?
I think this is, we're generating my question for 1.6A, increasing the non-conforming nature in.
By more than-
More than 25%,
It looks like it's almost, or maybe double,
correct.
which we'd have to look at 1.6 as one of the factors. But I agree. I think we at least need some guidance on this and to see
Any guidance going forward either way.
yes, but on this one, to see the plot plan. Hopefully, that's going to be what has been described to us, an engineered plan showing all the lines and the boundaries. Excuse me, and can I have your name?
My name is Philip St. Clair. I'm the one that's trying to bring in the new home there.
Okay.
This will not be the first one of that size to go into that park. There are several others that are already there and have been for several years.
Okay,
So I didn't want it to be construed as being something new, to the park.
thank you.
Yeah, we've always gotten the building permits and everything, but we never had to do the variance as long as we stayed on that slab, because I guess when that park was originally made, when it was an owner park, because now it's a co-op, it's owned by its residents. And, I mean, this was way back in the 80s, I guess it was in the 70s, actually. What I was told by the previous owners was that it was registered with the state for 123 24-foot by 65 or whatever slabs. And the lots were like approximately 100 by 50, some a little bit bigger. If they're on the outskirts, on the perimeter, some of them are a tiny bit smaller, but not much. They're not much smaller than 100 by 50. Would probably be about the smaller size there.
We're going to pull the plot plan that you were describing from the files, but to your memory, does it show the distance from each lot line to the existing home
Yeah,
there?
well, it shows you mean the individual lot line?
Yes,
Yes, it does. Yeah, it does.
Okay.
Because I sat with Chris, because I had it printed up for him. We sat there, we numbered all the units, and I labeled all the rows, and,
okay.
yeah, he has all of that.
We're gonna-
They're all, like I said, they're all to the right of the slab, and their property, their lot would go to the mobile home on the left. So
Okay.
it's always that way.
Are there any further questions right now before we get that extra information for the next meeting? Hopefully. Any other issues or questions for the applicant or his representative, the manager?
No, I don't think so. I'm just trying to understand the concept, I guess,
Yeah.
of a mobile home and how that works.
Well, I think other towns have a specific way to handle these. We don't, so it may be that we look at each one as an individual lot. That's what I was assuming, even though it's not
It's technically
owned.
a lot, right?
It's all owned by one owner.
But it has a separate address. It- No? Everything, well, it has a
They're
trailer,
all 250 Mansfield Avenue, and then they have a separate unit number.
Like an apartment?
but that's the same as an apartment.
Because they have
It's a
roads,
different
there
address.
are roads in the park. but
Right.
They can't use those because those are private roads, so they can't use those as mailing addresses or anything else.
Interesting.
It's just they're all 250 Mansfield Avenue with their separate unit numbers.
I appreciate all the information. That's helpful. It's helpful for us to know. I understand that we're trying to work through this with you, but I think we're going to have to put this off till our next meeting. And,
It's not gonna go in until the spring.
well,
anyway.
we'll hopefully get the plans that we're talking about and then, and also ask council for some
This
guidance.
is all new to me too, because I've brought in
I understand.
quite a few new ones already, and this is the first time this has happened, so.
Understood.
It's like a re-education process on everything.
But because it's before us, we have to have enough information on which to make a decision, so.
Yeah, that's fine.
You go
Can I
ahead.
ask you just kind of a general question?
Mhm.
Let's just say all the existing homes in there or all became double wides.
Uh-huh.
Would that change the aesthetics of the area in general?
No,
No.
no, it would be the same.
It wouldn't feel more congested though, or?
No, no, because they all have to stay on that 24-foot slab, and then they all have their yards beyond that.
Right.
So, no, they have to stay on that 24-foot slab, and a lot of them, like these people here, have sun porches or three-season porches or whatever that extend out to the outer edge of the slab. So if you put a double wide in there, you're going in that same spot. You're not going any further, because we don't allow it as a park for them to go off of that 24-foot slab.
So it's a building instead of porch furniture, but it,
Right.
the extension is, for our purposes, though, the extension may be significant because of living area and other things under the bylaw. So is there a motion to continue this, or do you have other questions or issues?
No, actually, there's one more question. Can you add so if you have a double wide, you take the whole cement area up, then you can't put a porch on, you won't allow that?
If they took,
The whole space?
The whole slab?
The whole slab,
to put a porch on?
yeah.
No, if the house occupies the entire slab, they can't build,
They can't put a porch. No, but what they're gonna do is the porch is gonna be in the front of the house, like off the driveway. There's gonna be a porch there, and then the home, it's all gonna come that way from the manufacturer with the porch. They can't, at that point, they can't add anything to either side, because it would have to go off the slab. So they have to have either their porch in front or a porch in back, which the home they're getting with the porch is only a 60-foot. So they have plenty of room, like if they wanted to put they have cement slab in the back where the rest of the slab is, if they wanted to put like a little barbecue
Table or
out there.
something.
but see, that's what we need to see on a plan. Don't you agree?
Yes, I
I
agree.
gave all that stuff, well, Chris has a lot of that stuff.
Okay.
I gave him a rough plan of the new home.
Is there a motion to continue this to the next meeting at 7:10?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor of that motion?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we'll take it up at the next meeting, and we'll be in touch with Mr. Carmichael. You should probably do the same
Yeah,
to make sure those plans, come to us and,
you
Oh.
want him to give you the big plan?
yeah, well, I mean, we'll ask that too. I'm just saying, close the loop on your end
Oh,
too.
yeah, we talk.
Give us what
We
you,
talk all the time, because there's always
yep,
something.
give us what you have. Make sure we have that plan anyway.
Yeah,
but-
I think, Nicole had a whole package too, but as far as like what I've already put in there for a building permit, like the demolition and everything, Chris has all of that. It's all on that permit,
Okay.
whatever.
All right, so we'll see you then in January.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
thank you.
That's good for the 22nd.
22nd.
Right, 22nd. Let me just confirm that, but
Same time, 7 o'clock?
Well, 7:10, but
I'll confirm that with Nicole.
I don't know if I have it on my, I should have it on the calendar.
yeah, we have them all.
You sent it.
It is the 22nd.
22nd? Okay. There she be. Yeah, Wednesday night.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good night, Dan.
Thank you,
Night.
too.
Take care, thank you.
Next item on the agenda is 274 East Main Street surety release. And Paul is going to fill us in. This has been before us. This is the apartment complex. At the time of permitting, we had a couple of bonds issued to take care of some things like outdoor work. And is this landscaping?
This is landscaping, right, so there were trees and shrubs that were included in there. In fact, some months ago, you signed, you approved a peer review payment to Beta.
That's what I
That
was.
they were working, they were confirming this, and this is, there's roughly about $15,000 left in the surety bond that would be Campanelli had put up for the bond for landscaping. There was a couple other, there was another surety bond, but I think that's been taken care of. But we believe they've closed out, they've met the intent of what they're supposed to do for it.
Who has said that, though?
Beta,
Beta last spring?
our peer reviewer.
Are you referring to the email that you gave us from last spring?
Right, there's an email string in addition to, I don't have these other files here, but when they were doing the peer review, there was material I had submitted with the payment for the peer review back.
We paid Beta, correct?
Yes.
So is there the final peer review letter? Do we have that?
A final peer review letter.
Saying that conditions were met. I don't remember if that came or not, that's why I'm asking.
No, I don't, no, there was no conclusion like that, but they were indicating in that letter that the conditions were being fulfilled. They just didn't say it was closed out.
Well, we have, I mean, the surety document, I don't have in front of me, but it has some requirements in it. Do we have that with us tonight?
I did
It's in the
not provide
file.
it.
I think we have to look at the surety document and then whatever we have from
Okay.
Beta saying it's closed out. I can appreciate Campanelli wanting to close this out, but I think we have to look at that, those two things. What I have is, the email from the end of November saying, can we close this out? So I just
Right.
want to,
I do point out there's as part of the email string, there is a,
from last April.
yeah, there is an email from April stating, this is from Beta, that, indicating that all seem to be looking fine and that I believe we're all set with our review.
Which one is that?
It starts with this from Carrie Clary on October 31st, but if you go to the second page, there's an email from
April 22? Nope.
April 5th from Scott Ritter from Beta, April 5th. So it starts on page 1 and then,
Bottom of page 4 is what I was just reading, is that what you were?
I'm looking at page 5, but for April 5.
It starts April 5th, and then it's something from,
no, this is the one that starts October, if you look on page 1.
Yeah.
An email from Carrie. to
But
me
the
that's-
earlier date on page 5 is April 5th.
Yeah, there's some overlapping emails on
And
here.
it says attached is a letter describing the results.
Right.
I guess we should take a look at that,
I can provide that to you.
if that's Scott Ritter. He's Beta.
Yes.
Because there were escrow monies to hire peer review on a number of issues, and this was one of them. I remember seeing some of these emails, but it was never it wasn't on the agenda at any time. Now it is, which is great, clear it up. But I think we have to look at the original bond document, and, which I know I have a copy of, and also the conditions in that, but also whatever Beta finally reported. I don't have that. We have it in the
Yeah.
electronic file, I'm sure. So I think, unfortunately, we have to put this off too, although it should be, I assume, quick business.
right. Beta, just so I'm clear, Beta is the
Peer review
Peer
engineer.
reviewer.
peer reviewer.
So the applicant, the permit holder, funds that, but we hire Beta to check, sort of as our expert.
Right.
And that happens in 40Bs or in other, special permit
Sure.
situations.
Sure, thank you.
So we have the documentation, I think we just have to have it in front of us and look. Now, having said that, for the record, there's nobody here, this is on the agenda, so I don't anticipate any objections to it, but I just think to do it right, we should look at those documents again.
Okay.
Is
And
there
my
a
apologies
motion?
not including those in there, but I'll
You
make
weren't
sure we
here,
get-
you weren't here then, so.
Well,
You don't
I
know
mean,
this history.
it's for the beta review and,
Oh, it's
and
in
I
the
can
file,
pull
I'm
up
just
the
saying
file.
you weren't here when this
Right.
was happening, so not,
we can pull up.
yeah. So is there a motion to continue this as well? It should be quick work in January.
I'll make that motion.
22nd at, say, 7:20.
Second.
I'll make-
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Hopefully, we'll take care of that quickly then. Okay, so then the next item on the agenda. General business. Do we have bills?
Do not have bills.
Okay. Oh, and you said Beta was paid, finally.
Beta, yes.
So I guess what we need also, we'll need to get a statement from the town treasurer as to how much is in the fund. We were holding some money to pay Beta.
For the peer review?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because there's a bond, but there was also some money to pay for peer review.
Right.
So we'll have to know how much we're returning to Campanelli, in addition to releasing the bond. At least that's my memory. And I think town treasurer takes care of that accounting.
Right, they do.
Okay. So no bills and warrants. There's a draft, there's minutes from November 20th, which I have not had a chance to look over. Excuse me. And I didn't take part in the first, so I'll leave that to you too.
When you reference a bylaw, it says 1.6.B1.
Yep.
So I know what that means, but you need to put the section, or is that just form, you don't put 175?
Well, 175 is the main, that's what I
The
was
whole
saying
thing,
before,
so
the
it's all-
prefix,
Okay, that's
right?
fine, yeah.
I think they're all 175 now, that's what I
Yeah.
was saying.
Oh, I see.
That was just added last year.
Oh.
It used to be just section, something of
Oh, I see.
article,
Right.
whatever it was.
So it's all 175. I was just,
So I guess my question is, if we're making a finding under 1.6B, we're not really granting a variance in setbacks, are we? So we granted them, the existing was a 15-foot setback, they're going to a 19.2, from 15 feet to a 19.2 foot. I gotta read that again.
I think
If
it's
we're
back.
making a finding under 1.6, are we granting, if it,
I don't know. I didn't take part in the decision. I never saw the decision either. The minutes, I assume, track the decision language.
Mhm.
Did Jim, we got it signed
Yeah,
and
Jim signed it.
posted?
Mhm.
yeah, it's more just not even a question on the minutes, just a procedural, how we, if we're in 1.6.
Okay.
If we're dealing with what, forget the minutes, forget this case.
That's the,
We're making a finding in 1.6.
no increase in non-conforming nature. That's what you're talking about, 175, 1.6B.
And the setbacks being less, are we granting a variance also? So is the decision granting a variance? That's how the decision is, correct? We're making a finding under 1.6 and we're granting a setback variance?
Right, and that one you did.
I'm just, going
Right.
forward, I'm just trying to keep it straight.
Yeah. Yeah, that one, I don't have the decision here with me, but
Variance would be under the section dealing with the setbacks,
Yeah.
yeah,
correct?
so it would be the table, 6.2.
Yep. Or 4.2. What is 6.2?
Yeah, 4 is the use table, 6 is,
Six,
The
it's still
dimensional
6.2,
standards.
okay. Yep, you're right. So,
I can confirm if
We're
this
doing
was
both.
how we did it in the decision.
Yeah, it's not really a question of the minutes, it's more a question of going forward, how we're looking.
the variance would normally name 175, 6.2.
That's what was kind of confusing me, was
Yep.
that whole wasn't covered under 1.62.
Right.
There's also a variance needed. Making a, to make a motion to approve the minutes of November 20.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Any discussion at all? No? All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Is there anything else to come before us? You wanted to mention.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention that we are in the early stages of making bylaw change for the village center plan to create a new zoning district and apply that zoning over in the village center. At the last planning board meeting, there was a discussion about creating a subcommittee. They haven't taken action yet, so it's a little bit ahead of them, but we'll be asking them next week. But I was hoping if we could get a volunteer, because our hope is to have a member of the ZBA on this subcommittee to look at this bylaw change and conceivably future bylaw changes. Or potentially, there may be some other bylaw changes that come down from other groups or individuals that make it into the fall, the Springtown meeting warrant. I think it would be advantageous to get, the zoning board and the planning board,
Yeah.
get some feedback on it. But at least for now, with this is a, more complicated one that,
I'd volunteer to do it. And then I would assume we'd talk about it at the subcommittee, then questions we
And then
bring.
talk it here.
Bring back here, talk it
Right.
out here, and then bring back what we talk about.
I mean, anyone can do it. Anyone can go to the meeting, I'm sure. so.
It's a public-
But
it's an
I'd
open meeting.
Love to,
Yeah.
sure. I don't think we need a vote unless you want to reconscript him like. the
Unless you
Army.
want another.
I'm not interested.
I was just
so-
assuming he didn't
Volunteered
want
for
to.
4 years, didn't he? I think I heard that, so.
Who said that? Yeah, oh, yes.
I was just assuming he didn't want to with the
No,
other
no, I don't want to.
Yeah,
committees that
no,
he sits on.
it's appreciated.
if they take action, we'll ask them. I need to confirm with the chair, but I hope they will, because that way we can start getting the material out sooner.
Okay. Can I ask, is this an overlay district, or is it actually to cut some out and rezone it?
Rezoning.
Rezone part of the center
Right.
under a hybrid of what's there?
Correct. A
Interesting,
more walkable.
Yep.
A more walkable compact standard.
hopefully.
And with this,
Well,
That's the
hopefully.
goal. I mean, that's the goal, right?
We don't know how the sausage maker will work in this case, so.
but if there's a subcommittee in place, that's for anything technically going. You could convene a meeting, like if say like you have a project that's in front of both planning and zoning.
Could be. Some communities do this, where they'll have a zoning bylaw subcommittee, and it'll be made up of planning board and zoning.
Or joint meetings, I've seen those before.
Right.
Of the boards.
I just know there was a project before us, and we made a decision, and there was an opinion of the planning and zoning board, the planning board, that it wasn't how they were perceiving the area. I just think it'd be beneficial in going forward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about one on trailer park bylaws? I mean, I'm sure other towns have them. You probably have run across them.
They would. We actually prohibit them.
Yeah, can you have a bylaw if they're not permitted?
Well, you'd have
that's
to
a good
amend it,
point.
but if you look at the use table.
But how about dealing with the current properties? I don't know.
Yeah, because this is a very different, the lots, when she's referring to lots, it's different than our assessor's lot map, so.
No, of course, that's why
Yeah.
we were,
And,
good questions and, helpful
but-
answers from her.
But this could, again, this would be an opportunity for the planning board to discuss, essentially a zoning bylaw committee, subcommittee that some towns do have. So anyway, Alan, I'll let them know, and we'll see what action they might take, because what we were thinking, well, again, there would be fewer than a quorum for planning board, so it could be 2 or 3 members there, and then possibly FinCom if they were so inclined, since they actually vote on
Right.
zoning bylaw changes too. And so this is, my lesson learned from what happened at the last town meeting, so we've built a game plan to
Get a coalition.
get a coalition and have a successful project out of it.
Much appreciated. Keep us informed.
Yeah.
I know you and Paul will. Anything else to come before us? Nothing on the agenda?
No, that is all.
Okay.
Motion to close?
Yep, first, we'll get the plans, whatever we can get from Chris and the file on the
Yep.
mobile home park. And next meeting is the 22nd. Second, motion to close?
I'll make that motion.
Nope. I think he beat you to it, but.
Oh, sorry.
Want a second?
I'll second it then, sorry.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Merry Christmas, happy holidays,
Merry Christmas.
happy whatever.
Happy holidays.